Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm loving this. We had an active chat like 2 hours ago already. This is so fantastic. Well, hi, everybody. Good evening, middle of the morning to all of my international chatters today. I'm so happy to see you. This is Social Change Warriors, and my show is Calling Out Corruption. And my name is Catherine, and I am the only social change warrior right now, but I'm recruiting Amber K, and I've got several. Ernie Birdie is in the chat, and Sarah in Shock and Hara are my fabulous moderators. And at times they will be on the platform with me because they are my newest 3 social change warriors. So I'm pretty excited to know them and to have them on board. So welcome if you're going to be on the replay. If you have any questions for me, you can DM me at my Twitter, and my moderators will put my Twitter up for you. So my DMs are open. Please feel free to share cases with me that you'd like me to look into. I'm happy to do it. I am happily retired. So I just started live streaming about 8 weeks ago after about 5 years of doing pre-recorded social work. And I'm a former law enforcement officer. So I have somewhat of an interesting, melded background that really makes live streaming quite intriguing to me. And I've always had an interest in true crime, even before I became a police officer. So that's just a little bit about me. I am going to make a video to put on my channel to introduce myself a little more, because I don't like to take up time when I have a guest. So keep a lookout for that. I'll tell you a little bit more about me and why I decided to live stream and why I'm interested in calling out corruption. So I am so excited to be global tonight. This is really amazing. I've always loved global travel. I've been to Europe several times. I wish I could go more, but I am excited to have as our guest tonight the Broken Baker, the Danish Baker, as many of you call him. I have followed him for a while now. He does an amazing job covering trials, so I might fangirl out a little bit. I can't promise anything. But anyway, thank you so much for being here tonight and for joining us in the chat box. I'm really excited for a lively chat tonight. So I just wanted to let you all know, Wednesday nights, I have a club, and it might sound a little bit harsh to some of you, but I have named it the Angry Bitch Club, and that's my show on Wednesday nights, and it's where we call out injustices to women in our communities, and my specialization in social work is domestic violence murder. So I have past 5 years, I've been supporting survivors of domestic violence, their families. I have volunteered in domestic violence shelters, and the incident of domestic violence murders is actually climbing since COVID. So it's a big concern, and there's several cases that Baker and I will talk a little bit about tonight that actually involve domestic violence murder. So Wednesday is my night to focus on women, and the reason I chose my name, which might be off-putting to some of you, but for many years, I was one of the only people that stood up at my jobs or whenever I felt like I was being called out improperly or made fun of or bullied. And then I would hear behind my back that everybody thought I was a bitch because I was the only one that ever was willing to say anything, I guess. My personal life, I'm far from that. I'm a very, very empathetic person. Most of my friends think I'm very kind. But when I was in work situations and my back was pulled up against the wall, I guess I was being called a bitch. So when I thought about this live streaming, I had once thought about asking radio stations if I could have a show and call it the Angry Bitch Club, where women could come on. It was a show mainly for women, but men would be invited, and they could tell me their problems and we would bitch about it. If you're going to call me a bitch, I might as well have a club, right? So that's Wednesday nights. Thursdays is normally my calling out corruption, but depending on my guest, you may see me having it on Tuesdays or Sundays or whenever my guest can join me so that we can call out corruption together. So without further ado, I am going to bring up my guest. So let me bring it up so we're both, you can see us. There we go. There we are. So welcome, Danish Baker. I am so happy to have you join me tonight on Calling Out Corruption.
Well, thank you. And thank you for giving an intro where there was at least 5 words you can't use on YouTube. You are going to love getting 500 subs and getting monetized.
I just lost your audio.
Oh, you lost my audio. Oh. Can chat hear me?
Hey, chat, can you hear Baker?
This is starting off
Hey,
well.
got a sec. Okay, chat, let us know if you can hear us both, please. It seems like we have a little audio going on. Let's see. He sounds
They
fine
hear
to
me.
me. Great. Can you hear me? They can hear
I
you.
can.
Okay, perfect. Awesome.
I don't know. Can you hear me? No. Oh, this is
I
wonderful.
can.
You can hear me now. Okay. I just
Yeah, I
said
can
that.
hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I just said that it
Yeah.
was wonderful to hear an intro with at least 5 words I can't use on YouTube, and you will love getting monetized because you will have to say, no, I can use the B word. I am a bee. I can say the C word because that disease is gone
Okay.
now. That's gonna be oh, that's one. You only been doing this for a
Oh,
couple
that's funny. I mean,
yeah, you've just been doing it for a
couple of
short time.
months.
You'll learn
Yeah.
all these weird words that we have to say because the YouTube gods don't like. Free speech
I
isn't
know. I've
free.
already, yes, I've been on your show, so I know. And I've been on some other content creators too, so I know what I probably am not supposed to say. So I may have to change my club to the Angry Bee Club. Is that what you're saying?
Get a little bee, and it'll work wonderful for your advertising when you start to do like me, produce some merch that no one will ever buy, but you can buy cheap cups then. But I would make an angry bee. That would be because it's good
Oh,
merchandising, and you can sell T-shirts with a little angry bee on. That's
oh,
idea.
I love it.
That's the first free idea I'll give
You
you.
are giving me great ideas. Are you listening to this, Ernie and Sarah and Amber? This is great stuff. Well, tell me a little bit about yourself and my Social Change Warriors followers. I know your people know about you, but we don't. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm 27 years old. I'm single. I like walks on the beach, sunsets. Um, no, I'm just a guy who one day was sitting at home missing my dad. I used to be in politics for a long time, 20 years,
Oh,
and
wow.
I was always discussing politics with my mom and dad, and I lost my mom and dad within 4 years. And it was my dad was doing the C thing that we can't name, and I missed someone to talk politics with because we had a
Right?
national election. So I made a channel, and I actually became the most viewed
Yeah.
non like news channel on YouTube with 115 views on a video. I still
Wow.
remember hitting 3 digits in views. I was like, I'm a big guy now. Well, I'm always
Wow.
big. But then I met these weirdos because I always watch trials. I've been a juror in Denmark for 13 years. So I was hanging out in Dave
Oh,
MLS's
wow.
chat, and and he thought I was kind of funny. And he said, "Well, oh, you've been a juror. Well, you want to come on?" And I went on with him March of last year, I think, or yeah, March, April last year. He said, "You speak a passable English. Can you help me cover a trial?" And we covered a trial in Texas. And then he's retired more times than yeah, I don't know who's that band who's always on a retirement tour. But
Oh, like, well, a lot of them, right? Queen. Who
yeah,
else has been on retirement tour and come back?
oh,
Train.
Cher.
Train. Yeah.
Cher is always retiring. But
Mm.
so he semi-retired for the first time, and well, I think he was just as bored with the case as I was. So I stole Jamie, and we started doing streams, and now I'm just an idiot who sits online way too much
Yeah.
talking about the worst people in the world.
Well, Amber just said Baker has that cheeky European humor that we love.
I
I
don't
love
have
that,
humor. I just
Amber.
have I just don't understand English. That's most of my problem. So people think I'm making jokes, but in reality, I'm
Well,
just sitting here thinking.
Donna just said Motley Crue. Yes, that was one of the bands too that's come out of retirement quite a bit. And there's so many, right?
It's kind of like all those bands we grew up with.
So
They're retiring.
how many I know. It's sad for me. I'm sad because I just I just saw Train, by the way. I have a friend who lives in Vermont, and I was lucky enough that he got me a ticket, and I flew up to Vermont and saw Train. And I did one of my live streams from up there in Vermont. I've been traveling so much the last few weeks. It's been crazy. I've been in Florida, my hometown of Madison, Wisconsin, Vermont. Now I'm about to go to LA on this Saturday for a football game. My Badgers are playing the USC Trojans. My subscribers know that I'm a big college football fan, so a lot of traveling. But tell us, you said you've been a juror for 13 years. How many times? So I don't know anything about your laws, obviously in Denmark, but how many times can you serve on jury duty?
Well, I can serve from I'm 18 till I'm 72, 74 years old. I can't remember what we just raised the upper limit because people are getting older. But you sign up for it every 4 years, and then the next 4 years normally you'll have like 3, 4, 5 cases a year. But because I have my herniated discs and don't have to get up and go to work, I'm on their quick call list. So I have like a normal year I'll probably have like 10, 12 cases a year.
Wow, I'm amazed. So I think partly because I was a police officer, I was never called for jury duty during those years. And now I haven't been called since, and I've been retired for quite a while. It's just so shocking to me because so many people I know have been on jury duty. My son's been called to jury duty. I wonder if I'm marked that I can't serve on a jury.
I don't know how. I don't like your system. I've said that a lot on my channel because I don't like that. We'll call you, and then the lawyers can get to skip you. Oh, you're former law enforcement. Well, you shouldn't be allowed to sit on a jury. Why?
Why? Yeah.
You're a lawyer. You can't. No, your Sixth Amendment, I believe it is, says a jury of your peers, and your peers is everything from a garbage collector to a congressman. Why should a lawyer be able to say, nope, I don't want that guy? That guy. We don't have that system. We just we just have I arrive in court. I get the charges. I'll read it and say, okay, today it's aggravated assault. So, and then this is the guy who is charged. Don't know him. These are the victims. Don't know them. And this is these are the lawyers. And it's my job to say I know. Well, I know this. I actually one of the lawyers who now started practicing for the defense in my court. I used to date his daughter, but it's like 10, 15 years ago. So that's not a problem. I knew him, and I know we'll still say hey and stuff like that, but I don't bang her anymore, so it's not a problem. And I haven't banged her in a long time, so it's not that big of a problem.
Well, I hope she's not watching the show. We don't want to hurt her feelings.
Well, I don't think she's that hurt that we're not good. Let's just say we didn't disagree that we ended our relationship.
Okay, it was amicable then.
Well, probably it became amicable after some time.
Good. Sometimes that works out. You can stay friends sometimes. That's a subject for the Angry Bitch Club, though, about that, because it doesn't always work out very well.
That's my job, is to say, well, I know this person, so and that's the only way I kind of can get kicked off a jury. Other than that, I have been pre-approved, and everyone who's, I think the only thing is you can't be previously convicted. I think that's maybe some convictions. I don't know. But yeah, I've been doing that for 13 years now, so
That makes sense. Wow.
but it's an
It's
interesting.
practically like a part-time job. So do
No,
they pay you?
absolutely not. No. A lot of people think I'm a
No
professional
money.
juror. No, if you have 4 cases a year, most of our cases on my level is 1-day cases. Some of them half-day
Okay.
cases. So you'll do, and only criminal court. We don't do any civil court with a jury. Every civil court is judge only.
Judge only. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Interesting. That's really interesting.
that's why I find the American system
Well,
so
tell me
fascinating.
a little bit about, oh, it is fascinating, but it's also very frustrating. So I am not, I don't like to talk politics on here because we all care about ending corruption. We all care about people being murdered. We all care about people being convicted when they were not the party to the crime and they were framed. But I am against the death penalty. I am not, I'm completely against it. I don't even know why we still have states. Now they executed, as far as I know, because I didn't get back on the news, but they executed somebody today in Missouri that I've been following his case. And he had, I can't remember the name of which group it was now that was trying to get a stay for him because they have found new DNA evidence. And they went through the governor, they went through every process, appeal. It's been months and months. They've been trying to get a stay for his execution, and it was all rejected. And that's crazy to me. Like, Chad, I want to know what you think about this, because why wouldn't we want to give a stay to someone that even has a small percentage of being innocent? Aha. I love it. The angry bees. Oh my God. Baker, you're killing me here. You're killing me. I love it.
That's
I've always
again,
been a fan of bees as it is. So I
yeah,
love
but
that. That's really great. Thank you. You are
I'm kind
repping
of,
me right now. I'm loving this.
well, I do stupid stuff sometimes, so
Oh no,
sorry.
it's all good here. We are all friends. So, Amber K just said, "I love it, Baker." So, but seriously, I am totally against the death penalty. Now, if they did, I haven't been able to hop back on the news because I had my teeth cleaned today. But if they executed this man, I'm gonna rave about it tomorrow night on my Angry Bitch Club show. I have Rita coming back on and Jen O'Donnell, but I'm gonna spend a few minutes because this man's son was on the news tonight. My mom said, and he's heartbroken because he totally 100% does not believe his father committed this crime. And I want to look into this because I'm going to honor this person, and I will find out more about this and cover it, because nobody should ever have their life ended when there's even a small chance that they did not commit this crime. I mean, look at how many prisoners after they were executed were exonerated. Too little, too late, right?
I I don't I don't know enough. I know Nick has been talking a lot about that case. I don't know enough about it. I've seen that it gotten a lot of traction today on the YouTubes, but I don't know enough about it to have any. Yeah, I don't know. Again, we don't have the DP in. That's another word you can't say on YouTube. We don't have the DP in Denmark.
Oh,
We haven't had it since
EP.
we took care of some German-friendly people in '47. For those of you who love history, can figure that one out.
Yeah.
That's another thing you can't say on YouTube. But we have
My goodness.
me personally, I have a problem with because
Oh,
I have that who then executes the executioner, because they also kind of committed a. But I can also see why a society want that punishment, and so to me it's a philosophical question, just as
it
a
is.
moral question, but it's hard for me to talk about because I don't live in a country
Yeah,
where
it
we
is.
have had it in my lifetime. So
Mhm.
but there's also people like a Dahmer, people like
Right.
that,
And we,
where you're
yeah.
thinking, yeah, that's fine.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to bring him up because, yeah, he was from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I'm in Madison, Wisconsin right now. And that case was just horrifying. I mean, he was like the boy next door. No, his own parents, his neighbors, people he worked with, nobody had a clue. He flew under the radar all those years, doing just the most unspeakable crimes. And it's scary that well, there's so many serial killers that don't look like anybody any different than anyone else. They just look like your neighbor, your coworker. It's scary. It's very scary. And in his case, I know a lot of people wished that Wisconsin did have the death penalty, but the inmates took care of it.
Yeah, but
There was
that's
that
the
inmate
problem.
justice, I think, as they call it.
Because then you get into we have that too. People who fall a lot in prison, where the inmates take care of a
Yes.
problem that we don't have the stones to take care of. And if you want to go down that route,
Right.
you go back to the lynchings, you go back to the mob justice, and you don't want that either. So you have to always weigh it up and say,
No.
that's why for me it's not an easy question to sit here and say, well, yes, I know the harvester takes a few too many sometimes, but also if a guy like Adam Montgomery, I would personally pull the switch, pull the trigger, inject him with whatever, and I would laugh every single second of it after listening to what he did to his daughter. In that case, I would have a hard time.
I know. You're right. There are
talking
some
again.
crimes. Yeah. Crimes that are so unspeakable, and there will be no reform for serial killers. That's been proven science. They've done many, many research articles and studies about it, peer reviewed, everything, you name it. There is no coming back from serial killers. So do we have like execution laws that are just relating to serial killers, that are just relating to personality disturbances that have no coming back from, who are murderers? It's like you said, you put it really well. It's a philosophical issue.
Yeah, because you'll end up sitting here thinking, well, Anna Montgomery, that's okay.
Right.
But you also have a Carly Gregg, 14 years old, who pew-pewed her mom 3 times in the face. If that had been a 45-year-old guy who did it to his 14-year-old daughter, you'd think, oh, let's give him the chair. That's why I think it's so easy when you see the wrong cases saying this is so bad. But yeah, it's a hard one.
Right.
I don't have the answer. But again, I'm a stupid baker. I don't know law.
You're not a stupid baker. You're a very smart man. And that's been proven by all of these trials you've covered and everyone that follows you and enjoys your coverage. So tell me a little bit about this. What, so far of the trials you've covered, which one was your darkest? Which one are you having a harder time getting out of your head?
Harmony Montgomery, no question about it. Listening to what her satanic witch of a stepmom lied about in court with the state's blessing, knowing that she right now is walking the streets in her hometown, probably high as a kite, and hopefully, well, I'm a good Christian boy. I would never wish that she would go play with a bumper on the highway, but I hope she goes play with a bumper on the highway, because that woman talking about the only thing she cried about was not being able to have sex with Adam again. She had no emotions when she talked about throwing burgers in the back seat so her kid could eat, and how he unalived her by punching her in the face multiple times. That case I will have with me forever. The rest of it, I'm a cold-hearted bitch, and I'll get over it. But that case, I will never forget. I will never forget the way she had no emotions. Yeah. Never.
Yeah, that is definitely a clear sign of sociopathic behavior. psychopaths, sociopaths, malignant narcissists, they have no emotions, they have no empathy. And that's when you get involved with a person like that, you are just signing yourself up for a world of pain. They will emotionally abuse you. They will physically abuse you. It's part of the whole domestic violence circle. It's horrifying for people to be in relationships and situations like that, and very hard for men and women to get out of those strangulating relationships. Really, it's tough. Yeah, that's a tough one. I had a case when I was a police officer that is still in my head. It was a young girl, and she kept running away from home. So we kept getting called, and it was just always kind of serendipitous that I was on duty, and I was kind of the more social worker cop and a woman. So I got the call a lot, and I would usually find her because I got to know her, and I got to know where all her little hideouts were. And I try, you get such a small amount of time when you're a police officer to interact with somebody. So it was frustrating for me because I'd have to follow up with the social worker, and I wasn't a social worker yet. I was still a police officer. So my social work side wanted to do more, but my police officer side could only do the call, write the report, and then repeat, right? Rinse, wash, repeat. It's very frustrating at times when in law enforcement with these type of cases. And get the call, the mom is hysterical. She's been missing for 2 days. They just thought she was at one of her usual haunts with her high school friends, so they didn't call it in. And they were starting to feel like the old saying, the old story, the little boy who cried wolf. And then we're like, oh boy. So got a tip that she was at a hotel on the outskirts of town. So a detective and I went out there to look for her, and we found her. So we brought her to the hospital because she said she had been raped. So now it's up a whole different level than just her being gone for 2 days. So, oh yeah, she was R'd, exactly. Thank you. You know what, Baker? You need to send me a list. I feel like George Carlin needs to come back from the dead and help me out, because he always made those amazing lists of all the words you couldn't say on TV, right? So she was R'd, and can I say SA as well? Then I can say that, right? I can't
Nope.
say it out, right?
Sexual assault and rape is the nomenclature.
Can't say them. All right. Well, my journalism side says that's BS. So there's no reason in the world why we shouldn't be able to say these words, because this is what's happening to women. These are the words that we were given to use when we are sexually assaulted. And so if I can't say that, I don't get it. So that'll be a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. So anyway, take her to the hospital. They do the R kit. She was only 15, and there were signs of the sexual S activity. So call the parents come to the hospital. They're acting all upset and outraged. And I started getting really bad vibes about the dad, and it was gut. I mean, I had no proof. There was nothing I could do about it. I had bad vibes about the dad for months, that was why she was running away, that there was some type of verbal abuse, or that he was possibly abusing her mom. But again, I'm on this call, I'm in the hospital, I have very little time. She's about to be taken to the social worker, and I'm about to get sent to a new call. Well, months later, it is finally out. The mother finally confesses that the dad had been sexually assaulting her. And that one never has left me. I mean, I could tell this story for the rest of my life till I'm 90, and it'll never leave me, because I felt like I failed her, that I had her on so many calls. I took her home so many times to that monster. And I know my hands are tied, but it was just, it's a tough one. It still lives with me. And that was over 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah. And you will always have those things. And I don't know if it's our minds playing tricks with us afterwards, saying, you kind of knew. You had that kid in school where you were thinking something's going on, but I don't know if it's just your brain, because we like to put stuff into patterns in our brain, and I don't know, your brain just feels like, oh, I recognize this pattern, and even though you probably didn't know.
Yeah, my gut feeling was pretty much screaming at me the whole time. But again, in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. And sometimes we don't trust our gut feelings. But I'm here to tell you guys, seriously, of all the jobs I've had in police and social work, and even my jobs prior, my gut feeling has almost always been right. And when I ignore it, I always kick myself, because we always want to give people the benefit of the doubt. We don't want to be overcritical. We don't want to be this. We don't want to be that. But man, when God made our beautiful bodies, or spiritual, whatever you believe in, whether it's God or spirits, or if you have a different religion, our bodies tell us we have what's called this raging hormone in us, right? That is fight or flight. So if you've ever been in a fight or flight situation, and I'm sure many of you have for various reasons, that's when that cortisol gets revving up in your body. And when that happens, you get a gut ache, you get a stomach ache, you get a headache. That's your body telling you that this is not going well for you. And I've had some of those happen to me on dates where I've been with, tried to date online, and I met somebody out, and right away my visceral reaction to that person was not good. And that's not the time to give yourself that person the benefit of the doubt. You don't know this person, right? So if you're ever in a situation like that, listen to your gut. I cannot tell you enough how important it really is, important, because your body is trying to tell you something, and it's usually right.
Yeah, it's well, you know you best, and you know what you feel is. I think a lot of people maybe are afraid to take a stand and say, I just have a really bad feeling about this, because I can't feel that way, because then I am blah 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 blah, and we start to. I think one of the biggest problem we have as a species is we have tried to tell ourselves we are not animals, but we are.
Mm-hmm.
And when you feel that
Yep.
little tinkling,
Yep.
it's your animal spirit saying, you don't like this girl.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about the case you were covering today. I watched with you guys a little bit in between physical therapy and the dentist. That was my exciting day. So tell us a little bit about this case you're covering right now.
Well, it's a random case that Jemima, my mod, found, and she because I was actually taking a week off, like Jamie would let me take a week off, and on the face of it, it's one of those YouTube cases, a guy who stabulated his wife 55 times, as you do, and then he's on his sixth lawyer. He tried to go pro se, and they are always the best cases. He's been fighting the bailiffs in the courtroom and stuff like that. So it could be a good case, and it was a good case because he admitted it before the case started. They were on the record, and he stood up and said to his family, "I'm sorry, what happened to her? I didn't mean to." But we still have to sit through 3 days of testimony to. Yeah, he admitted it. Then just plead guilty, you blithering idiot.
Well, you mentioned this to me today when I talked to you a little bit in the DMs. You said you were confused why they didn't have him take a plea or even an insanity plea. He seems obviously he's unstable to stab his 28-year partner 55 times. He is not well. Why do you think they didn't do that?
Well, one thing I find most times when they don't take a plea is you've been a cop. Have you ever met a criminal who wasn't the smartest person in the room? In their own mind. Yeah. They just need to 5 more minutes and I can talk myself out of this. The Sarah Boone case, it's not intentional.
Yeah.
That's the way to get out of crime. No, there's no magic word. Daryl Brooks, subject matter jurisdiction. You see it again and again and again. They are always the smartest person in a room, and this time they'll find the magic word. They just need abracadabra in law speak. So I think that's why he didn't want to plead. He was almost fighting his lawyer when we ended it today. So it's gonna be interesting.
Oh, wow. Well, I'll be on the replay for that. I had to go into the dentist, but yeah, this will be very interesting. There's definitely a lot going on with everything with him. What other cases have you covered that had some interesting elements?
Well, of course, you know the Karen Reed case. I actually,
Yes.
like 3-4 months before that, we covered a Lorianne Phillips case out of, I need Jamie, she remembers names, Wisconsin, maybe, I think.
Oh,
That was
that's where I
quite,
am.
oh, then maybe you know it. Quite similarly, did she run over her boyfriend, husband, unalived him on purpose and or not? And there were more evidence in that case that he had been struck by a car than in the Karen Reed case, and she was found not guilty. So I found it so interesting to see
Right.
the Karen Reed case where
Right.
there are absolutely no evidence he was ever struck by a car, that they get hung. Well, on a lesser included, but still.
No. In
And
fact, there's evidence to the contrary. I mean,
yeah, it's and you have that entire
I agree
Smurf
with
arm
you.
on Twitter
I know that
every
case.
day. So, but yeah, the Lorianne Phillips case is one that was interesting because that's what being struck by a car is. Then of course, I did the 2 Montgomery trials. That was more because they were so bad. On a personal level, I didn't like them, but I wanted to cover them also because poor little Harmony needed someone out there. And I was just getting started. I
Yes.
always try to I'm the worst weathergate in the world because I'll say, oh, everyone's going that direction. What's over here? So I find these weird cases, and then 2 days after I start covering them, other people say, oh, I didn't see that one. So, but I would think, of course, Karen Reed was my big break because I had some big panel shows with some amazing guests. But mostly I've
Yes, you
been,
have. You really have.
yeah. But again, and that's like you did to me today. Say, hey, you want to come on? Build a community and build people you can pull into and have good conversations with. It's actually quite hard because
Oh, absolutely.
I can call up Better Row and talk about whatever goes on in Canton, but I'm not a Canton channel. So
Right.
I need a Better Row to call up for Sarah Boone and whatever else I'm covering. That's the hard part is
Right.
finding a network that's so wide you can use it for everything. But I'm trying.
Oh,
I'm trying with it.
absolutely. Hey, I agree. I mean, I'm not obviously don't live in Canton either, but that case really intrigued me from the get-go because it involved, what I thought was a hit and run. Because I'm going to be honest with you, when I first heard about it, that's how it was being put out to all the rest of us that didn't live in Massachusetts or live in Canton, and already know that there had been some very odd occurrences already happening in the state of Massachusetts. I don't think I've ever seen so many justice for hashtags that have to do with the state of Massachusetts. That's a 1 and 1 plus 2 for you right there. And then I kind of looked into it a little bit, and then that was how I found Turtle Boy's channel because he was covering it so exclusively. And I was just amazed at his boots on the ground, good old fashioned independent journalism, which we don't get enough of these days. And I started saying, wait a minute, none of this makes sense to me. And then obviously, as we watched the trial go through the 8 weeks, it was just one thing after the other. Witnesses not making sense, witnesses' testimonies not adding up. For me, because I was trained to detect lying, it was painful for me because I'm like, wait a minute, is the jury seeing this? Did the members of the jury know how to detect lying? Because so much lying went on. I was just, every day I watched the trial, I was madder and madder. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, actually, I came into the Ken Reed case differently than I think most other people. I can't remember where I saw it. I saw that picture of the arm. I thought, this weird. I'm going to show
Yeah.
because Jamie and I just pick up stuff whenever we go, and we started watching it. And I haven't been. Every time I cover that, I'm being accused of being a Turtle Boy follower, and I can't do anything without um, um, without Daddy Aiden telling me. I've had Aiden on for one show last year, I believe. I can't even remember when. Like talking to him, very, very interesting
Yeah.
guy, and he is, he's kind of like a heel in a good heel, and he's kind of like Steve Austin was in when he became a face in WWE. He plays a bad guy, but he's really good at getting stuff out, and that's a good way to get a lot of people's attention, hyping it a bit. But I never really followed him, watched any of his stuff. I just started watching the trial and the hearings, and thought that picture of that arm, for anyone who have ever seen a car hit. And again, I've been doing jury duty for 13 years. I have seen people getting into all kinds of trouble with cars, and that's why I said you
Yes.
can't hit someone with 2,000 kilos of weight, and that's what you get. And then you saw how bad Lally was, and how he constantly lied, and how he lied about the same thing from case to case, and Bev was just saying, "Oh, I'll allow it." And you thought, this is going to be an absolute train wreck. And 8 weeks later, yes, I to this day still know how. I don't know how much
Yes.
snow was on the ground. I couldn't tell you. It's. I know
all that opening testimony of what they were. Go ahead.
I was just saying the good old male joke. It was 6 inches of snow.
Exactly. That was laughable. What was also laughable was just the utter waste of time of the testimony about going to high school basketball games and where you were seated, and the whole thing with, I mean, it was just utterly insane. And I can't help but think, and I know I've read this in a lot of chats, so I know a lot of people agree with me, that this was a tactic. Because if you think about it, the more witnesses the prosecution had, the longer they dragged it out. You're a juror, and you don't get to look back. You don't get to take your notebook home with you. You have to leave it on your seat in Massachusetts, where it can be read by God knows who. And then you don't get to, why are we having a court reporter if they don't get to ask for testimony so they can hear it? How are they supposed to remember 8 weeks of testimony, and then they're under the pressure, pardon the pun, but under the gun to, oh, I love it. What are you showing us now?
I'm showing you Lally's tactic. This is the amount of evidence
my gosh.
he used in the case. This is the relevant evidence he had in the case.
Yes.
If you took all of this away and you're left with these 3 pieces of hard evidence, that case would have lasted a week. Karen Reed would never, to be fair, any reasonable person with any degree of IQ in their head would never ever have brought that case. It was brought because Canton is a corrupt cesspool. The DA's office in Massachusetts is corrupt, and I don't care. They can't sue me.
I know. I'm only laughing because one of your subscribers, Marissa, I have to interrupt because Marissa, this is very funny. She wrote, "I can't believe Baker is still speaking English versus Danish at this hour." Because Baker, what are we going on now for you? 3 a.m., right?
We're coming up at 3 a.m. It's a quarter to. No, I had 2 hours. That's because normally when I've streamed like 10 or 12 hours, I start mixing in Danish words because my brain just starts melting. So I stream too much. I should get a life. But she'll be the same one tomorrow. That
actually reminds me, my sister lived in Italy.
Oh, my sister lives in Switzerland. That's just above. No, but I'm saying Marissa will be the same one tomorrow, saying,
"Oh, she did.
You only stream for 4 hours."
Oh, that's funny. But well, you are doing a lot of streaming, but yeah, we could. I mean, the Karen Reed case has been covered by so many, so many content creators, and it just seems to me like 85 to 90% of the public honestly believes there's no way that John O'Keefe was killed by a car, that he was beaten up in a very bad, what I tag, an after bar fight that obviously got out of control. And his injuries do not line up with being hit by a car. And the arm injuries, I talked to several of my ex-cop friends who were canine officers, and they sent me photos, which obviously many people shared photos after the trial and during the trial of dog bites. And it's just so obvious. It's maddening to me that what was the final vote? Maybe chat remembers the final for manslaughter, that they could even consider that. Like, how are you still considering manslaughter when you heard from the ARCA guys who told you there's no physics here? It makes me crazy. This case makes me crazy.
I can tell you why. You walk into a courtroom. You've seen that on TV, and it's my mods. They are just hanging out because when I get into my phone, I will have 45 messages on Discord. Don't say we make you stream, and they're nice girls, but they're mean to me. Every girl is mean to me. No, but when you get into a courtroom, your normal first impression is, well, you must be guilty. Why else are we here? And I think that's the problem with. And I know for a fact I had to learn to not do that when I came into a courtroom. My first case was. I still remember to this day. It was 4 girls who had beaten up 2 girls, and that was so weird because it was girls beating girls. We don't see that much in Denmark, especially when it's in like a group setting, and you're looking at these. The youngest was 14, I think. You're sitting there thinking, well, these young girls, why are they here? They couldn't be doing this. And then you heard the story,
right?
Especially one of them. She was the biggest bee in the world. And you have to learn that your bias is something you have to fight against in a courtroom. And you can't do that
right.
if you're not aware that I am biased.
Yeah. Unconscious bias is in all of us. We're human, so we all have it. If you tell someone I have zero unconscious bias, well, you're just fooling yourself, because the key is that you recognize it and you recognize what they are, and then you try to work on yourself and be a better human, right?
Well, I don't try. I have my mods to tell me I should be better, but no. But again, we all have biases. But that's back to what you started talking about. When you get those small prickly hairs in the back of the neck, it's your brain telling you something you don't see. It's the same. If you see a guy with a big face tattoo, you think, probably not going to kiss him. Maybe he is the nicest guy in the world. He just thought, oh, a face tattoo would be really cool. I have some really bad tattoos as well. And so people, because I'm quite a large guy, and so when I have my arms out with all my tattoos on it, some people might think I'm a little bit of a bully, and
like a tough guy. Yeah,
but
you got a motorcycle. You got a motorcycle to go with that, tattoos and the leather jacket and all the stereotypical that people assume, right?
I haven't ridden on a motorbike since 7th grade. Our German teacher let us. He had a vintage motorcycle, so he gave us a ride around town on it. I haven't said it on a motorbike. I never felt like it. I can't wear leather because I'm fat. I would sweat to death. So it's just I just like tattoos. I used to be a sailor in the Marine. Well,
a lot
I
of
wasn't.
people love them.
Yeah, well, I was in the Navy, so I thought it was I should have that, and I just liked them. Again, I was number 3 boy.
I saw that.
Sorry.
I actually saw that photo that you put up was it on Twitter? I think. Didn't you put up a photo of yourself in the Marines when you were young?
No, I put up a photo
chap?
when I was deployed. I was deployed with the Army. I I don't think I have shared any of my marine photos because we all wore that
Oh, right. And
done.
you had an anniversary, right?
No, no, we had our Memorial Day.
So that was when you were deployed. Is that the photo?
Yeah, the one. Actually, the funny thing is the plaque I'm holding is an appreciation
Yeah.
from the American Army because we saved them for a forest fire. Well, we didn't do that, but they were scared. So.
Well,
Yeah.
that was a really cool picture that you shared. You were just a young strapping buck in that picture.
Yeah, with the.
Well, we have about 10
all-
minutes before we have to let you go to sleep.
Yeah.
So I want to touch briefly on a very dark case that's about to come up. And I'm not looking forward to watching it, to be truthful, because since I first learned of this case, I have been literally heartsick because I am a mom and I have two children. I was a competition cheerleading coach for many, many, many years. So I had a lot of goddaughters that became my own daughters. And when I first learned of the grooming of Sandra Birchmore by these supposed police officers and all the allegations that were swirling out there that she did not unalive herself, and I started reading everything that was out there, and Mizzy, that amazing human who decided to stand up and start doing standouts when she didn't even know Sandra. I was so impressed with her. She, to me, is a true social change warrior. And that's what we need more in our country, in our communities. It's scary. It's so scary to be the only one to stand on a street corner and hold up a sign. But somebody has to do it, right? Because there's just too much going on in our communities here in America right now. And I don't know how that compares to your country, but we just have a lot of corruption going on here right now in government and police. And we have to say enough. Enough is enough. And that's why I decided to start streaming, because there's nothing I detest more than a dirty cop. I worked with some great officers who just gave everything they could to their job. I personally feel that I was a very good police officer, but I worked with some real jerks, and I could put a lot stronger language on that, but I'm trying to behave for YouTube. They should have never been hired. They should have never made it through the screening. We need better screening. We need so much more oversight, like what we're dealing with in Canton right now. And with tomorrow night, Rita Lombardi and Jen O'Donnell are going to be on my show with me, and we're going to talk about what's going on there and how Rita was thrown out of the meeting last week. And they don't want to hear anything. They just want to do what they want to do, and they're so used to getting away with it. And this is big. Someone wrote in the chat earlier, big egos. Absolutely, that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with big egos and people that have been getting away with crime and corruption for years in power, in positions of authority. And then you've got this Explorer program, and you've got officers that are supposed to be role models for these kids that want to become police officers someday and serve their communities. And you've got this ring of pedophiles. And if I can't say that word, I don't care. I'm not monetized. You got a ring of pedophiles and they're police officers. It's the most worst egregious situation. And this can't be the only one. And that's what scares me to my core, is that there will be more victims will come out. There's other police departments where this is happening. And this is where we have to draw the line, because crimes against children is far worse. It's no crime is good. No murder is good. No SA is good, or R word. But when it's against children, it's even worse. And what Sandra Birchmore was put through is tragic. It's horrific. And then the fact that she was actually, basically, she knew that he was going to try to kill her. And she told people, she wrote it in her diary. She basically, she forecasted her own murder. And she was so young and about to have a baby. And we have to stand for her. She deserves justice. And I don't care. I can't wait for everyone else to get arrested that was participating in her grooming. I will watch every second of every trial until all of those horrible, horrible men go to jail for the rest of their stinking life. So, Baker, bring it home.
Well, good news. Brother Farwell has lost his. There was something about him in the news today. I just saw it pop up quite fast.
Oh.
I have no good news on that case. I have nothing else to say. I had Missy on last week. I think I was maybe a week before. Wonderful, wonderful woman. And that's one of the things that gives me hope in Canton. is there's so many people talking out against this, but and let me be a Debbie Downer because we should also be realistic. Hey, Miss Jessica, um, I don't talk politics. I don't care if you're red, you're blue, you're green, you're polka dotted, whatever you are. This is corruption because of people being indifferent to what has happened through hundreds of years in their community. We
Yeah,
don't care. We'll revote Morrissey in for 25 years. We don't do
unbelievable,
anything. We,
unbelievable.
we don't run against him because well, you have a DA who's getting paid contributions to his election from his workers. Any other business, that would be corruption. Only in politics can you be this corrupt. And I don't care what, I don't even know what party they are running from.
Oh, it's just
Whenever we get into this, I don't care because I have Democrats, I have Republicans, I have, I don't know, in my chat. Just remember, this can happen to your
yeah.
community
I
because
do too.
the
Yes,
community gave up and said, it's not my problem. They did it on with the school boards. They did it with the select board. They do because someone else will take care of it, and
yeah.
it's a modern problem. I know it from I ran for politics for a long time, and I was on city council as well. Everyone yells when there's an election, and everyone forgets you for the next 4 years, and that's a big problem. You should
Pretty
all
much.
be angry. You don't have to stand out with a sign. You don't have to go on YouTube and yell at people. But just
Right.
remember one thing: you're paying for the next trial for Karen Reed. You paid for the investigation into the Farwell brothers, who got off with less than a slap on the wrist. You're going to pay for the case against them now. They are screwing you with your own money. And if you don't
And
hate,
not just, yeah,
yeah, and I'm sitting, I don't care. I'm 6,000 miles away, but I can see these a-holes. We just saw Bukaki got 3 days, 5 days without pay because he didn't have
unbelievable.
oversight of his work. No, that MFer, the the no restraints of being on a non-monetized, but I'll be nice. That MFer, he got off with nothing. He
Nothing.
liked it. He put a smiley
Mhm.
on, I'm looking for nudes.
Oh,
He's
I know.
still out there trying to intimidate people. That's why it's so
I know.
important. I'm a court case trial, true crime, call me whatever you want. I don't go into all of the activism other than when I meet some nice people and I can talk about it, because my main focus is live streaming cases and then talk about
Yeah,
the actual or the case I'm following right now.
right.
But this case, but especially when the Sandra Birchmore dropped, and reading about the indictments, I read through the text messages. I I wanted to go. He's one of those guys you need 5 minutes alone with in a dark room with a blowtorch and a hamster.
Oh, oh, I want 5 minutes alone with William Levine too, man. That guy, when I first saw his photo before there was even too much out about this, when Mizzy first, I contacted her on Twitter, and then she sent me, she posted something and I commented about it. And William Levine has just a look of the devil. And I really do believe he was the one who groomed the Farwell brothers. He's a ringleader. He has to get arrested. Like, I can't wait to see this guy get arrested. They have to have evidence on him. They just have to. He makes my skin crawl. The Farwell brothers make my skin crawl. I'm so disgusted with the whole thing. I'm disgusted with the fellow officers. Don't tell me for a second that they didn't know. They did not do the
The
see
school
something, say something, because
the school resource officer got a blowy from this girl. while he was taking care of. You saw how young she looked. She looked 15 on a good
Oh,
day. The school
oh my gosh,
resource officer.
she never looked her age.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the whole everybody now that this is out, everybody needs to go down. This needs to blow up the entire Stoughton and Canton police departments. Anybody who cares about children should be tweeting about this and putting it on their socials. And I mean, Sandra Birchmore and her baby deserve justice, just like Karen Reed, John O'Keefe. We've still got, there's so many cases in Massachusetts making my head spin. We've got Just on Route, who I've been trying to help his family tweet out about the best I can. I've mentioned him on several of my prior shows. And there was the other young man, and some of you that were following, he was in he was driving drunk, they believe, and he had a car accident and then ended up in a front lawn not far from his car, and they didn't find him. You're telling me that you are trained police officers and you can't find a person that was ejected or ran off from their car and collapsed in a yard not that far away? And this was over near Meadows. So it's another case that is a black spot on the Canton Police Department.
Well,
Canton, Stoughton, the Massachusetts State Police.
The same officers who drove by a front yard with snow in it and saw minuscule pieces of plastic couldn't see a body 2 houses away from the crash scene. It again, and
right, it's BS.
Yeah, and the hospice just didn't know that the school resource officer also got a mouth hug from him, from her.
No.
But and his superiors knew because they did an interview. When it hit the newspapers, he got fired. Fire those people who let him work after they knew it. We saw how horrible the oversight committee was. Nothing's going to happen there. You have to vote every one of those out, starting with Morrissey.
Everyone.
Hey, Volstorm.
Yes, I agree with you. And Rita sent me some photos today for tomorrow so I could put a little slide deck together on all the wonderful protest signs that she's run across. And I was looking as well, and I saw somebody made a big sign for the back of their truck, and it said, "Elect no one." And so it's like sometimes, you don't want to elect anybody. You just don't want to, because nobody decent is running. Nobody you can trust is even running. And how do we get good, ethical people to run for government? Because most good, ethical people don't want to enter that S show. They don't want to enter it because, like you said, politics is so corrupt these days, and decent, innocent, nice people who want to seriously help their communities, they don't want to ruin their families' lives and their lives by getting involved with crime and corruption. And so this, I don't know if you'll think this is funny or not, or Chad, if you'll think this is funny, but one of my sergeants used to say that whenever there would be a bad apple, they would just demote that person, or they would just hide the body in paperwork or desk jobs, because if they fire them, it'll make news. And then if it makes news, then everybody draws attention. Well, why did that person even get hired? How did they slip through your hiring process? And then that draws attention to the chief, to the lieutenants, to the captains. So we'll just hide the body. We'll just demote that person, or we'll just give them a desk job. And this happens a lot. It happens way more than it should. I witnessed it in my own years policing, and it's just a travesty. I mean, we have to do better. We have to have better community policing. There are plenty of amazing people out there that would want to do this job. There's a lot of great people who would want to serve their communities in government, but they don't really know how to get started. And in the meantime, like you said, because people just don't want to deal with it, they're tired of losing. I mean, I took a break for a year. I stopped pre-recording because I felt like I wasn't making a difference, and I got frustrated, and I just thought, let me just be retired. I'll just go volunteer like I like to do, where I feel like I'm making a difference.
Can I say a thing? That's the worst thing you can do. I've been doing this for 18 months. It's fine. But I've been doing politics for a long. I grew up with a mom who was very active in politics, and one of the things she taught me, because she was stepped on a lot in the local party, because she wasn't the right profile to get elected high on the list, but she was a trooper, so she stayed with the same party for 40 years. I don't understand why. But the same as doing this, just
Good for her.
instead of losing hope in yourself or the cause, think about, if I can just get Ernie Birdie to smile today, or to think today, or to uh, something. If I just can get that one person uh, to maybe say, "Oh, I never thought about that," then you're doing a difference. Because if you don't do it, that person wouldn't have had that thought. And sorry, Ernie Birdie, I know you think a lot, but
Yeah.
just use you because I saw your name. Um, you, it's the same when people are asking me
She's
about
great, by the way.
yeah, and but it's again, people are asking about, oh, going to the gym or something, and I always say, just try to make one person smile every day. And that's why I do. I don't know if you can share the picture
Yes.
I made while we were doing this, down in the bottom.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hey, God. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. You did this while we were talking.
Yeah, I get bored a lot. So,
I'm just
um,
sharing it. Oh, you are something.
but doing stuff like this, even talking about this crazy stuff, will make people smile, because we're about to end, and they will think. I think when
Yeah,
you send them away with a smile and put it into, I sing a song or do something stupid or whatever I'm doing. I think if you give them a good environment, and where you give them, I don't like the word safe spaces, because I'm not a snowflake. I've been kicked in the face enough times. No, we are only 14 running in the last election. Um, but if you can make them think and laugh at the same time, you will change more in the world than all of these stupid politicians with their overhead and their flipboards telling you, "Oh, I'm going to do this." No, they're not going to do anything they told you. And if you want to change something, you have to
right,
get in on the ground level, and you have to vote. I don't care who you vote for.
right,
You are
exactly.
absolutely correct. No matter who you're voting for, it's the right party. Except Volsum. Volsum is always wrong, but the rest of you is always right. But that, just try and be that change you're looking for. And I know it's really hard, and I try to do it. I also have those days where I just want to punch a wall and yell at people, because Jamie is after me
Me
again.
too.
But but
I get so frustrated with there's just so much that frustrates me with so many of these cases that you've been covering after the fact. And like, how did they even get there? Why didn't somebody see the signs? Where were the warning signs? Where were the family, the friends? It just becomes so overwhelming. But we can only take, one or two or three or four at a time, and try to have a voice and try to be the voice of reason. And like you said, educate and share and make someone's day if we can, because we have to involve a little bit of happiness, because we're all still trying to live. We all have our own set of issues. We all have our own problems, and we can't get too deep into these cases that we forget self-care, because we got to take care of ourselves. And if you don't think that compassion fatigue is real, I'm here to tell you it is real, and it can drop you. So everybody who follows true crime and who's following these cases, they're dark, they're sad. Make sure you have your time where you step away, you unplug a little bit, do something for yourself, take a walk. What's the new thing the kids are saying? Go smell the grass, or go touch the grass, or something like that. I love that one. Go touch the grass, because you have to. You absolutely have to. You can still be a caring, compassionate person who cares about people and what's happening to them, but you still have to be able to take care of yourself. So I'm glad you said that, and I love your artwork. It's absolutely the best. You have to send it to me. So,
well, I am just uh,
because it's fantastic. So everybody, I absolutely promised the baker that we would end so that he could go to sleep. So as much as I hate to end this, because this has been fantastic getting to know you, I'm so honored that you were willing to come on a very new startup show. It's really
oh,
means a lot to me. And
that's
I do
that's
want to
another thing.
say when
That's
yeah. And
that's
so
an
I hope,
that's another thing, because I had I had people. Oh, just have to take that down. I had people helping me out
There.
when I start, and then I've kind of, when you get to a certain size, people are kind of like, oh, I'm not going to give him my audience. I'm thinking, why not grow together instead of growing because we cover a lot of the same stuff. And I found out actually by just inviting
Right.
Rundle of the Bailey, Melanie Little, Betterow, Andrea Burkhardt, those people on. A lot of people will all of a sudden cross-pollinate and say, "Oh, that's really a good take. I like this guy." Or what's that weird accent?
Yeah.
And I like helping. Well, I don't know if I help anyone, but I like it when we can come together and have good conversation. As I always say, we don't have a safe space on my channel. We can have different ideas, and you and I probably see a lot of things differently, but I would rather talk to people instead of this. I must be in my little silo because I have the only real view on the world. No, you don't.
Right. Oh, I love hearing other views. I love debating people, and you're never so stuck in your own mind that you can't be willing to listen to others and even move a little bit to one side or the other. I have friends that are, to the right of the aisle. I'm to the left of the aisle. I love it when we debate. I love it when we convince each other to move a little closer to the middle, because that's where we all belong. We all belong we care about the same things. We want what's right for everyone. Everybody wants I hope to think everybody wants justice, but there are the outliers, right? And how do we deal with them? And how do we tackle the outliers that don't necessarily want justice, or that are stuck in their old line of thinking, or who are I'm going to say it, racist, right? Who are misogynistic towards women. So we have people out there, they're out there, and how we deal with them that's a little bit different. When you're debating someone who's willing to listen to you and willing to come to the middle, that's all good. But there's plenty of people out there that will not hear you. They don't want to debate you. They are stuck in their line of thinking, and they'll never change. And so how much of your time, how many times do you want to drive your car into a brick wall, right? So we have to make those decisions too.
Exactly, and again, it's not just it's both sides. That's why I say I don't care about politics, because both sides are equally, because the other side is so judgmental and call everyone a racist and misogynist, and instead of thinking about, that's why I hate
they go overboard.
I hate the limiting of speech, because I would rather have you open your mouth and tell me you're an idiot instead of me having to guess it. And that's why I love free speech.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm all for free speech, and then we can dissect it. And so I have to say, one of Phoebe says, just don't make Baker eat cream cheese. I love cream cheese. Baker, you don't like cream cheese?
Cream cheese is a hate crime. I will ban people on my channel who promote cream cheese.
Oh, don't ban me, Baker. We're just new friends. I love my cream cheese. I love my bagel with cream cheese. I love cream cheese dips, everything. Anything I can do with cream cheese, I'm in it. Well, everybody, we must say goodbye to the Baker. I have a couple housekeeping things, and I do want to make a comment about Ellen Greenberg, who was it's a very similar case, Baker. I can tell you more about it sometime if you would like, but hopefully it will be in the court soon. Ellen was accused of unaliving herself by stabbing herself 20 times, 10 times in the back and 10 times in the front. And it has gone that way since 2011. Nobody who, allergies, sorry. Nobody who's followed her case, no one believes that. It was completely, no, this is a domestic violence murder. I'm 99% sure. I'm following a little more closely now, and there was some new information that came out where there is a surveillance video that was not out before, that her fiance was wearing shorts, but the EMT, when they were interviewed and asked about how he was dressed and his demeanor, they said he was wearing sweatpants, and the EMT was absolutely certain of it. So maybe, just maybe, that's a little crack in the armor of this conspiracy, which is, if this blows up, it will blow up Pennsylvania, because it involves the governor. It involves big named people that are friends with her fiance's family. So, but I just always like to end my shows with Justice for Ellen Greenberg because she was a school teacher. She was a good person, and she did not deserve this, just like nobody who is murdered deserves to be murdered. So I'm going to stand for her. And someone, thank you for posting about Enrique. I'm right now, my brain's tired as well. I've been traveling so much, I don't remember his full last name, and I don't want to mispronounce it, but we have to stand for him. There is
Enrique
no
Garcia.
police training, and I can tell you this for certain, that involves that level. Pardon?
Enrique Garcia.
What'd you say, Baker?
If you're thinking about the guy who
Thank you.
got killed at the MSP.
Yes, Massachusetts State Police. I can guarantee you, and I went through the police academy. Police officers have to go through constant in-services. We have to be trained in defense and arrest tactics so we can save ourselves and others. Never, ever would you be put through something that brutal and vicious. This can't stand. So I'm happy to see his family on social media. They have a GoFundMe page now. I'm going to talk a little bit about that at the end of the show tomorrow, because this young man wanted to be a trooper. He was looking forward to serving his community. And for whatever reason, if it was racism or if it wasn't, if it was just overreach by the training instructors or the trainee that he was boxing with, I don't know yet, because we don't know that much yet. But he didn't deserve that, and that's an outrage. So now you're dealing with a lot of outrage in the state of Massachusetts.
Yeah, let's just be honest. Think American History X, think curb stomp. That's the only thing that makes sense with those type of injuries. You don't break your neck by being punched in the face. It makes no sense. Happy note to end on.
No, it makes sense. Well, we have covered a lot tonight, and I have enjoyed it immensely. And I thank all of your subscribers that joined us live. And thank you to everyone that will watch on replay. It really means a lot to me as I'm starting to start my channel, Social Change Warriors. And I hope to get to visit with you again soon, Baker.
Well, we never know. Now tomorrow I'll just have to fire all my mods because they have been mean to me tonight.
Oh, no, don't do that. No, Baker's mods, we love you. You did a great job. My mods, Ernie, Sarah, and Shock and Horror, and Amber, Kay, thank you so much for being in the chat and supporting me. And I'll be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. With a fusion of my Angry Bee Club and my Calling Out Corruption with Rita Lombardi and Jen. And I'm excited to say, thankfully, we'll have some humor and parody at the end of the evening because Auntie Deb has agreed to stop in. So we need to keep humor rolling for all of us that need that to get through these dark cases. So we will have a nice little visit tomorrow night from Auntie Deb, and who knows which one of the characters will join her. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate you. My hashtag is just us in honor of my mother, who served her career as a paralegal investigator. My father, who was a union rep and was one of the first to start a picketing in Madison when he was an employee with the state of Wisconsin, and my grandmother, who was an older woman and worked the polls. So that's my hashtag, just us. I also use Raise Your Voice because we have to, guys. This is not the same America. It's not the same world. So if we care about justice, if we care about humanity, we have to take a risk and put ourselves out there. So thank you to everyone that follows true crime, that follows these cases and cares about the victims. And I just hope you all have a wonderful evening. And Baker, go get some sleep.
Well, I'm just going to stop by my friend the expert and annoy him a bit in his chat, and then I'll get some sleep because.
Awesome. Tell us where we're supposed to go next.
Well, that's this channel called The Expert. He has his Taco Tuesday stream. It's just started at 9.
Okay.
Normally they have a beer quiz, a beer pub quiz, whatever you call it, pub quiz. That's the word Now I'm talking the Danglish because I'm tired. But
well,
no,
you go to bed, and I also want to say, I will follow him. Any suggestions you have for Social Change Warriors, we are happy to take those.
This is absolutely. He has nothing to do with. He's just a wonderful, funny guy, and he doesn't cover trials and stuff like that. He's more for the easy living, having fun. So it's a good channel to to just
Good.
relax to. And
Yeah. When
and
it
thank
gets
you
this
so
late at
much.
night, that's really for the best.
He normally I'm on his Friday night live show, and that goes till like 1 a.m. So that's nice. I can get up
Oh,
at 5 in the
wow.
morning and get on that one. But thank you so much for having me on,
Well, I will definitely. Thank you.
and all the best to all of you. And yeah, just start learning. You can't say grape, you can't say essay, you can't say pew pew, you can't say the disease from China. You can't say. You'll learn as you grow.
I will,
And
but I'm not monetized, and I'm not really necessarily going that way. I'm a retired police officer, retired social worker. I just trying to do good work. So even if I were to get monetized, it's going to go to charity. So in the meantime, I can say these words.
You can, but you just get used to it when you've been on YouTube for too long. I actually use it in my real
You're
world.
right.
That's so annoying.
Yes. Well, don't be surprised if I send you out and ask for a list so I can start practicing what words I'm not allowed to say.
You do that. And
Well,
do
I
you want to
will. Well,
sign
good
off? Or do
night,
you?
and thank you again. Yeah,
Are you signing us?
I have a little sign off that I can say. So
I'll hang out and we'll
I
say
can sign
goodbye
us
in the
off. I
green
don't
room.
have much else to say.
No, I'll just sit here and be quiet.
That sounds good. Hang out for a minute, please. Okay, that I don't have much to say, but to thank everybody, and thank you for subscribing to Social Change Warriors, and thank you for caring about these victims that have been murdered in the recent cases that we're covering, and cases that are going to be coming up. And any of you that have done standouts for Karen Reed, awesome, fantastic. You have set the bar. And so I'm hoping to see more standouts for Sandra Birchmore, because there's more arrests that need to be made. And Ellen Greenberg needs standouts. I'll fly to Pennsylvania. I seriously will. I'm so upset by what has gone on since 2011. There's another woman, Suzanne Morphew, in Colorado. I may have to fly out there because her death is going unrecognized. It's a cold case, and there's no one that would have murdered her. I'm sorry. I'm saying it. It's her husband. It's domestic violence. These just can't stand. So we've got to get more standouts going. And the Karen Reed standouts have been so amazing. And it's a true example of what community can do. And it makes me so proud to be an American when I see people coming together and they're willing to go and stand on the corner and say, I've had enough. I'm not putting up with this anymore. You're corrupt. We're not standing for it. And that's why I'm having this channel now. So thank you to everyone. And if you have time tomorrow night, I'll be live at 9 o'clock. And thank you again, Baker. Good night, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Be good to yourselves. Just us.